we've been speaking to industry leaders who are driving the innovation. We are now going to be shifting base and talking to marketers who have been in front of the competition, adopting these technologies, and we're going to discuss their success stories, right? When they leverage interactivity in unique ways and also garnered conversions. So, as we move on to the next session, let's discuss the panelists, right? So, our first guest for today is Teresa Coutinho, the Assistant Marketing Manager of Musafir. She's got she's got over 7 years in digital finance and marketing. She's a skilled in CRM, marketing campaign management, brand management, and digital marketing. Her focus is always on the bottom line impact, so that ROAS is always in green. Better believe that. I know it. Thank you so much, Teresa, for joining us.
Thanks, Thomas. Glad to be here.
Perfect. Wonderful. And so we'll move on to the next guest. Our next guest is Vinita Shetty. She is the Deputy General Manager in Growth in Foundit. You might have formerly heard of them as Monster. She is a seasoned marketing professional that drives demand generation, user engagement, and retention. She's implemented successful marketing strategies with her data-driven decisions making and project management skills that have resulted in increase in user and revenue growth. Vinita, thank you so much for joining us so late.
Thank you so much for having me here. It's my pleasure to be here today.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And last, our final guest is Mr. Vaibhav Khanna, who is the Head of Product and Subscriptions, BQ Prime. Vaibhav comes with over 6 years of experience in analytics, product, and growth roles. His areas of expertise include digital subscriptions for growth and strategy, product ownership and innovation, along with marketing automation, advanced analytics, increasing the audience growth, and strategic product partnerships. Vaibhav, thank you so much for joining us. You obviously drove a lot of changes internally for us in terms of ideas. So we're excited to have you on board. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Thomas. Very excited to be a part of this program.
Perfect. All right. So let's dive right in, guys. Straight off, the first question for you, right? Let's start with you. Well, one of the first interactive use cases that you tried was identifying the high intent leads, right? And you essentially were trying to find out who were the most interested ones in purchasing a tourist visa, right? And tracking those conversions from those leads are definitely important, right? So maybe if you could shed more light on this, on what you did, what were you trying to solve, and how did you go about it?
All right. Okay, so UAE Tourist Visa is one of our verticals here at Musafir.com. We're an online travel agency. It's one of our day-to-day, almost our bread and butter, you can say. And we do get a lot of data from a lot of sources because we have offline sources, which are our retail branches and our stores, as well as online data sources. So we have stuff coming in from our contact forms on our website, integrating with our own online tool from our lead generation ads on social. We have a separate division for corporate customers who, have requirements from time to time, and we have a vast network of trade partners. And at a certain point, it gets very difficult to sort of sort through all of this data at particular periods of time because we've been in the industry for a very long time. We've been here for about 18 years. And we've just, for the past 3 years, we've got about 400,000 worth of data. And it's always difficult to sort of identify, if there's, for example, there's a Thomas who is into, getting his family, to Dubai for say the holiday season, and it happens every year. And if it's one Thomas, it's fine, but there's about 10,000 Thomases, right? And there's about 400,000 of different people who want to invite their family, friends, tourists, whatever, at different times of the year. So it was easier to sort of segment those lists by sending out a form to all those lists and asking them, okay, what's your name? What's your contact number? How long do you want to be in the UAE for? Do you want to be here for 30 days, 60 days, 90 days? All right. And when is it that you want to travel? So there was this lovely little field which involved a date picker. So that really, really cut down the turnaround time for our sales team because Visa as a product in general, it goes on 24/7 and it just never stops. And it really, really helped to segment, customers into hot and cold, so that the sales team knew what to focus on for a particular month in order to achieve a particular target, right? Again, looping back to the fireside chat, what Akib said about earlier about revenue being everything. I absolutely love that line. Myself, again, as you said, I'm all about the bottom line impact. There's no point in doing something, there's no point in marketing something, advertising anything, talking to people, unless you're getting that return. And this is where it really helped us, especially for the UE tourist visa. Yes, it does work great for our other products as well, but especially for our UE tourist visa, it was a big game changer.
Brilliant. I mean, thank you so much. I mean, that's definitely great to hear from your end, and it's definitely an interesting use case on how you're kind of using technology to help the sales team to close more, right? And it's directly contributing to revenue. I love that part on how indirect impact it is. So another interesting category that I've personally seen is where companies are now starting to gamify it, right? And they're trying to drive conversions through gamifications. Did you happen to kind of explore that area, or is that something you're trying to do?
Yes. So, slight deviation. I'll have to admit we were using, so my predecessors over here were using, no offense to them, but they were using another tool, which was working all right. But the issue I personally had umbrage with was that the emails we were sending out were flat, right? There was absolutely no depth to them. All people could do, all the recipients could do when they saw that email was just stare at it and then be like, okay, okay, I have some information. I have no idea what to do about it or how to feel about it, but here's some information, right? And I love the fact that Mailmodo has these little gamified elements. True, they are not complete in-depth gamified experiences, but as a start, especially in an email marketing nascent market like the UAE, right? It is great to have these things because uh, the AMP elements are very interactive. It immediately picked up our open rates, and I could see that change from our previous tool to Mailmodo. So what we did was with the spin the wheel element, we at the time were partnered with the Munich Tourism Board and Munich Airport and Tourism Board. And we decided to give a little bit of a festive touch to our emailers. Instead of always sending out sales-based emails, which is buy this, buy that, reserve this, reserve that, look what we have, it's great, push, push, push. No. So what we did is we ran a social campaign, and this is just for context, right? We ran a social campaign which drove, let's use the term users, from social to Mailmodo. Now, usually data farming on social is quite expensive, whether you're running lead gens on Facebook or on LinkedIn is extremely expensive, right? But here's the beauty of this. I did this for completely free. I didn't pay 1 dirham for it, right? Absolutely amazing. We didn't pay a single penny for it. And we got so much of data because people absolutely wanted to know what the contest was about. And then we put everybody into that subscriber list and sent out this spin the wheel email, and left it up to luck. Like, depends on you. When you open it, when you play the game, it's like they say, how you play the game. And here's the thing, right? It sort of transitioned because the tourism industry in general is not, it's very offer loyal. So I'm trying to turn that offer loyalty into brand loyalty. And here's where that little change came, right? And I'm very proud of it. And I'm very proud that Mailmodo gave me that chance, because I remember when I first joined over here, my CEO, he's all about the P&L.
Yeah.
He said that, nobody's loyal over here. They will go for the next offer. And I'm like, no way, watch this. And Mailmodo helped me achieve that. So this whole campaign made Musafir much more personal, it gave a more emotional connect. It gave a little bit more of attachment to the brand. It wasn't just, okay, buy this and buy that. It was more like, okay, it's the festive season. We're giving you something. right? Okay, it depends on your luck, but we're still giving you something.
Yeah.
And
I think that's
yeah,
the advantage of games, right? I mean,
it really was amazing. I actually had a lot of fun with that campaign, and Munich tourism was absolutely blown away with it.
wow, wonderful. I mean, that is definitely great insights, Teresa. Thank you so much for sharing that. Maybe let's learn from the tourism industry. We have clearly seen how they are adopting this and they're seeing success there, right? Let's move into the recruitment industry, right? Which is again a huge area. We need that for any recruitment firm, right? Candidate profiles are the single most important thing, right? I mean, you might have the best interface, the best skin that people can access, but if you don't have an updated profile, it's not going to work, right? So how do you ensure that you have candidates complete their profiles? Because I know a lot of people just enroll but don't complete it, right? And how did you get the most necessary information at every single time?
Before I take that question, I want to congratulate each and everyone part of this session on the successful landing of Chandrayaan-3. And
Oh
to
yes.
answer your question, for us, profile updates as a problem was twofold. One, where we had to address the problem of incomplete profiles. And the second part of the problem was the profiles that were stuck in Stone Age, not updated for a while. Right. So our mission with this entire process was that of addressing the profile incomplete or outdated profiles was to make the entire journey, right from educating the candidate about the importance of updating the profile to having that experience or the process of completing the profile much more easier than what we had otherwise achieved through other forms of communication and effortless. So right from the get-go, we were sure that one of the aspects that we had to keep in mind was to capture the audience where they were already engaging with us the most. And choosing an interactive email or an AMP mailer was a no-brainer for us, right? So what we did was we created two different sets of templates. One template where we would address a single field update, say for example, gender, work experience, 4 years, 5 months, etc. And the second part of the template incorporated the section-wise update. In the PPT, as you see it, it's educational details where you have university, their level of degree,
Yeah.
and postgraduate, etc. And WorkX was something where we had incorporated their current company, the timeline where they were active in their current company, notice period, etc. By incorporating interactive emailers as part of our overall communication strategy, we were able to achieve 360% more conversions than what we had otherwise seen with our AMP or text-based emailer. So definitely that interactivity factor and reducing the number of steps the seeker has to take, or candidate as we love to call them, it was clear that we were able to drive our bottom line in terms of moving our core KPI.
That's amazing. I mean, over 300% in terms from a previous, that's a huge uplift, right? And I mean, we were also kind of surprised by seeing it, and we loved, seeing how it's happening. Have you also tried other elements apart from forms? Were there any other use cases that you tried?
I think in our world, in our field of work, uh, something that we have to be is mad scientists about experimentation, right? Experimentation could be in the form of trying the different communication patterns. It could be trying out the different modes of outreach, or it could be understanding the influence of this combination on your overall metrics, or it could also be understanding how the correlation are against respective variables. So at Founded, what we do is, we split our goals. So 80% of our time we dedicate for incremental goals, and 20% of our time we dedicate for moonshot goals. So as part of our moonshot goals, I wanted to try something different and take a gamification approach. So what we did was we wanted to test out what would be the response of our candidate for tangible reward versus intangible reward. Now, while testing this out, we had to be also careful about where would we attribute our success. It could be reward as a standalone, or it could also be the interactive element as a standalone impact. So what we did was simultaneously we ran 3 experiments. The first experiment was reward for a certain action using a text-based or text-based or HTML mailer. The second was a more gamified version than the first one, where we asked a seeker, a candidate, to update the information, followed by spin the widget to know what reward they have won, to claiming the reward. The third step of the experiment was where we gamified the entire experience, right? So there was this template where you spin the widget to know what section you need to update to gain what reward. So, for example, I spin the reward and I get to know that work experience would get me X reward. And one of my team member would spin the wheel and would know that for education, I'm going to get Y reward. So, overall, this experiment had given us incremental value in terms of getting the profile updates, not only from the engaged audience, but also from the candidates that were dormant for a while, right? So clearly the second experiment worked for us. I mean, no prizes were guessing, right? Because it was more interactive. It had the tangible reward attached to it. And at the end of it, we had 96% more conversion than what we had otherwise achieved with an HTML or a text-based email.
Wow, that's amazing. I love the way you kind of thought about it. A lot of people might just, think on just a surface level saying that, hey, let's gamify it, spin the wheel, you get a gift, right? But the way you kind of went one layer deep and got those individual attributes to it, that was, I really like the way you thought about it. So in terms of, interactivity, right? It's pretty obvious that, as we reduce the number of steps in the process, right, that leads to fewer drop-offs, right? And what does that mean? Essentially higher conversions. So Vaibhav, have there been instances in your field right now where you used interactive emails to collect information through your email channel?
Yeah, absolutely. So, we are a news publisher, and subscription is one of the top revenue sources, and we are trying to build it more. As you know, India is not a subscription first country, so we are trying to convince more people to start paying for news. So our audiences are generally HNIs and C-level folks, and one of the core value propositions of our subscription product is events, and we do very very premium events with 200 to 300 people. So what we wanted to understand our users better, so that we can invite more relevant people to relevant. So let's suppose we do markets events, banking events, marketing events where CMOs and all are targeted. So what we did, we used AMP emails to send out an email to our paid subscribers, and where we wanted first party data, and where we wanted industry, the designation, they have their email and the phone number, and we got a very good response. So earlier, when we used to send them like a type form, where a user had to go and click, there were a lot of drop off. But since we have started sending these emails, we have seen 2x number of leads we get as compared to the earlier emails. So this has been very very working very well for us, and we see like the drop offs have reduced.
Reduced. Wonderful. That's brilliant. And apart from events, have there been any other interesting use cases right now that you guys have explored or are currently exploring in the news and publishing industry, maybe where you were previously working?
So we are trying a lot of stuff. As you know, I think the major like experiment we did was the RSS feed, where we used to get updated newsletters. So the problem that we were trying to solve here, in my previous role when I was leading subscription growth at Indian Express, the problem of stale news. So being a news junkie, I am subscribed to all the newsletters: New York Times, Wall Street Journals, Bloomberg, and I generally check my email at a certain point of time, and either it's day or night, and I tend to miss out on like a lot of emails. So a lot of those emails have stale news. So let's suppose if I open a Bloomberg email from the morning, I may not get the relevant news, because being a news junkie, I'm always always updated. So the problem here that we tried to solve, we connected this email with a live RSS feed, which was updated in the real time by our editors. So what was happening is every time a user was opening the email, they saw latest news. So an email sent in the morning, if it was opened in the night, it had latest news in it. So it was like a groundbreaking, I think, achievement that we did, and I think the first in the industry on the news use case. And it was a wild idea. I went to Mailmodo with, and you folks made it a reality. So yeah, it's been now we are trying much more advanced use cases on it, and yeah, I'm hoping in next 2-3 months we'll see more of this.
Wonderful, Vaibhav. Thank you so much for that. So moving on, right? Engagement is an important aspect of email marketing, right? So, and essentially, an engaged email list leads to a higher open rates, right? What does that mean? That also kind of leads to higher conversions and an overall audience who's interested and waiting to hear what you have to offer next, right? So, how have you engaged with your audiences through emails, Teresa? Let me start with you.
All right. Well, okay, there were quite a lot of widgets that we were very, very excited to try out in the beginning. And I think image carousel was something that we did try. However, I believe the best response we got in terms of combinations was doing polls combined with the contact forms, wherein we basically what we did is we made the polls a little bit more funky, a little bit more colorful with some emojis saying yes, call me now, or no, I want to miss out on this. I'm not sure. I'd like to know more. And it actually did eliminate a lot of, you know, the cream from the crop. And yeah, it did solve a lot of problems over there. I've seen that in terms of this particular combination of polls and contact forms, our uh, our open rate has obviously, yes, gone up much, much more since we've switched to Mailmodo. But in terms of within Mailmodo campaigns, this particular combination delivers a higher submission rate. It seems to be that people enjoy this a lot more, especially, again, constant guidance from the, Mailmodo RMs. I'm really, really grateful to them. They keep, messaging, emailing, telling me how to, sort of, keep the email fresh, make it better. As soon as they see a drop, they'll immediately send a message, be like, okay, this is what you need to do different. It's amazing. However, there is one thing that we're currently working on that I'm very, very excited about. And this is directly related to conversions, not new conversions, but converting drop-offs. So I believe that you guys have a cart abandonment template that we're looking to leverage with data posted from our server. If we can get that data, we'll be able to sort of recognize what exactly it is that the customer was interested in before they dropped off, and then sort of set up a series of reminders, and culminating with sort of an incentive, saying that use this link, you within 3 hours if you book, we'll upgrade your Tune Protect insurance, or you get an extra 5% off your visa. And obviously, it'll again take a load off the sales team. Plus, the final email, the receipt email that goes out to the customer will be so much better, because then we'll be able to cross sell without somebody being on the phone and having to, be like, okay, there's this, okay, there's that. No, you just have it like a very clean, written over there. People can choose whether they wanna, they wanna do like a cruise trip, or they wanna do, tours or activities within Dubai. That way, our holidays department is also happy. We'll be able to upsell meet and greets at the airport. We'll be able to get people to book their visa change in advance for a refundable fee. That way, we're converting not just one, but 3 different products. So that is something that I'm very, very, very excited about.
That's amazing. I mean, it's great to see how one of the leading travel agencies in the UAE are kind of capitalizing on this technology, and you guys are already seeing results. You're just doubling down on it, and I think that's what goes to the fireside chat that we had, right? As long as you embed it into your marketing philosophy and you keep working at it, you are bound to see results, right? So
Yeah, and
great
I can
insight.
very safely and proudly say that we're ahead of the curve over here. So personally, I love. I don't know if you guys have checked out the communication coming out from Indigo, the airline. They're very, very witty. They keep it very light, but in terms of interaction and cross-sell conversions, I don't think they're quite up there as at least we are, and none of the other travel agencies are.
All right,
So thank you for
perfect. That's
that.
great. Excellent. And Vinita, we'll move to you. Like, what does, I mean, it's super interesting insights that we've heard till now, right? So, to ensure ongoing engagement, collecting feedback is crucial, right? I mean, yes, at one point we say, let's sell this, let's cross sell, let's do that. But in a lot of businesses, feedback is extremely critical to their business right now. So, how have you collected feedback? Maybe Vaibhav and Teresa, both of you can kind of contribute on that.
Sorry, is it me or
Yeah, I mean, so Vinita, maybe you could start off and then we could go around about. Yeah.
Sure. So since our since we went through the rebranding exercise last November, engagement is something that has been core to every step of the customer journey that we have on our platform, right? So our vision from transitioning from being a job platform to becoming a full-fledged talent platform, right from the time that a candidate goes through college and starts thinking about the corporate world, to figuring out an internship, coveted internship opportunity that gives them a sneak peek into this world of a corporate that they are going to step into. Also level up on their skills every step of the way, right, as per the skill trends that they are seeing, and ultimately landing the job of their dream. So some of the experiments that we did right from the first stage where they would engage with us, that is awareness to conversion, to also improve our bottom line, that is retention rate. I could give you some of the examples that we have tried at our end. One of it was getting the feedback from our candidates and surveying them in order to level up or in order to add a layer to our Foundit Insights tracker. So FIT is a report that goes out every month. So what we do is we give candidates an insight into the job trends as per their experience and their experience and function industries with respect to the city they are active in. And the second experiment that we tried was when we launched our courses in partnership with Udemy. So there were two insights that we were looking at surveying our candidates. One was, what was the motivation behind the candidate taking up a course, and what courses would align with their respective jobs skills that they would have mentioned in their profile. So the first part would be either it could be upskilling, it could be for promotion, landing their first job, or making a career transition. The wealth of data that we got by surveying the candidates, it was just like a love letter to data, right? The insights that we got from this was helped us to quickly make a turnaround on the kind of communication that we have to craft to reach this audience in order to achieve the kind of conversions that we are looking at. Also make that entire process more organic for our candidates. To state another example that we had driven was, this was more from a conversion perspective, was with our test platform. It's also called as Skillist. So the problem that we were facing was there was a huge drop off from the traffic that we had on the platform to the candidates initiating the test. So the team came up with the hypothesis that probably the candidates are not able to figure out what they are getting into, and without knowing what to expect, They didn't know if they have to dedicate 30 to 40 minutes of their time, right? So we came up with the hypothesis that, if we make sure, if we give them a sneak peek into what they can expect from by taking the test, it would make that entire process much more easier for a candidate to make that decision. So we tried multiple things, like listing the questions in an email as to what they could expect, having it passed on in the form of an attachment as a PDF, but none of it gave us the results that we were looking at. That incremental growth, that X growth that we were looking at wasn't happening with this. That was when we decided probably adding a layer of interactive email. So we picked a widget of quiz where we added multiple choice questions. And we couldn't believe at the end of the experiment, the overall engagement on the interactive email, which also drilled down to the overall conversions that we had from traffic to conversion, that is test initiation, was super, super high and beyond our expectations. So making that little change basis the insights or the basis the understanding that we had of our candidates made a huge difference in terms of achieving the overall goal that we had, also moving our bottom line. One of the very big achievements in terms of use case, or the biggest success that we had using interactive emails was using this during our virtual career fair. So we recently had a virtual career fair for DNI initiative that we have as part of our Foundit overall DNI strategy. Was that virtual career fair, to all of who are part of the session who do not know, it's like a digital carnival for jobs, right? So these are the jobs that are posted beyond platforms. They're not available on your platform, but they are active for a while during that time period. It's a 3-day event where hiring managers, candidates come onto the platform, they engage with each other. Candidates get to know more about the job descriptions, hiring managers get to know more about the candidates. Leading up to the event, what we wanted to do was make the entire registration process much more easier for the candidates. So what we did was the year prior to this year's event, we had used Google Forms. Now, Google Forms, although gave us the conversions, it came with its own technical challenges, right? It is, how do you get my data back onto the system? Now, I have it in Google Form. How do I have it back in my system? How do I maintain my data sanity? Those are the important questions and the hurdles that we faced last year for a quick turnaround, preparing ourselves for the event. But this year, what we did was we added a layer of interactive element to our overall communication strategy. And through emails, what we did was, by having that interactive element where a candidate could just give their consent that, I'm willing to participate in this event. But there was another element on top of this as well. Every hiring manager comes with his own expectation in terms of data that they would need from a candidate. Right? So what we did was we added a layer of profile update on top of it. So you say that, I'm interested in this event. The second part of the template would ask you for what details that we would need so that we can successfully register you for the event. So now that the seeker has taken the first action, the second action looks much more easier because it is overall aligning with the goal of the candidate participating in the event. This got us 400% more conversions than what we had seen last year. And the best part was the overall conversions also was seen in terms of participation. Our participation during the time of the fair also increased. So all in all, I would say that we have barely scratched the surface in unlocking the overall potential that an AMP mailer can or an interactive emailer can contribute to the overall success of your communication strategy, right? At Foundit, we have like a lot of new products that we release every now and then. So having experimenting, innovating, and having a creative mindset in order to unlock new use cases based post understanding the need of your candidate can help you explore new use cases beyond what you have already tried. And we still see that there are so many ideas that comes from team, the way that we could implement it, and also with minimal technical intervention, that makes it all the more fun in terms of exploring the interactive emails to accommodate your overall engagement strategy.
This is brilliant, Vinita. Thank you so much for going into the details of it, right? Hearing from one of the largest job tech firms in the world right now, vouching for interactive emails and how it's, helping you guys out in all aspects, right? It's not just in one use case, you're spreading it across the board, which is pretty cool. Vaibhav, over to you. What do you think? How are you, using feedback? How are you collating it? What are your thoughts on that?
Okay, I see. First of all, I wanna thank Vinita and Teresa. Amazing insights. I've got so many
Yeah.
ideas to do things, and amazing. So on engagement, for us, engagement is the bread and butter, because if I sell a subscription and if a user is not reading that subscription or not using the best of it, they will not renew. So we chase a magic number of five. 5 active days on platform. So my the goal here is, if a user is not consuming more news, we need to get them back. So I think one of the very good feedback forms we got via Mailmodo. Earlier we used to send Google Forms and all, and we were not getting a lot of feedback. But with the forms inside AMP emails, the feedback had increased. We were getting some really good feedback, and we were able to retain those customers and talk to them and fix those issues. Second, we sent like a daily newsletter. We have 2 to 3 newsletter on a daily basis, and we track the open rates and click rates. But I think what we lacked was the qualitative metric. So with this emoji, we send like 5 emojis under like a newsletter. Did you like it or you did not like it? And this has been a very wonderful feature for us, because this gives editorial team insights what worked today. So in the last 1 month, we know, okay, when users were not happy, what was the issue at our end, and when they were happy, what kind of articles were sent to them which were insightful. So I think qualitative metric, this really helped us. And I think one thing which I missed talking about in my last uh, was, I think we need to educate the users a lot, because like a lot of users, they are not habituated to interact with emails, and this is
Yeah.
kind of, so I've talked to people and explained them this, you can do this inside an email, and they say, how is this possible? So I think I think to make the most of it, we need to educate the users as well. As when we were sending those newsletter which were auto updating itself, in the headline we were like giving like a lightning signal and telling this newsletter auto updates itself. And on inside the newsletter, the first banner we said, always get the latest news when you open this newsletter. So like a lot of education involved, and that's how we've been able to increase our engagements.
Perfect. I mean, education is definitely something that I also feel it's still needed right now in the audience, because people are still getting habituated to the fact that this is possible, right? I was working with a colleague of mine, and we went across the BBC who were trying interactive emails, and a very in a beautiful way they incorporated this is that they're using accordions, right? And right above every accordion, they've kind of put a small banner saying that this is interactive. Click here, right? So it's kind of nudging the reader to kind of click it, but they beautifully designed it that it does not look like it's standing out, or it's not part of the message. It's beautifully designed, so it's cohesively into the brand language. Which, so I mean, that kind of is the reason why they're doing that, because to educate customers to click on it. And I mean, we all have to find out different ways until the market knows that this is something possible on email, right? So thank you so much, Vaibhav. It's great to hear how one of the largest media houses in the world are using us, right? We are excited to see a lot more use cases you bringing up. We are fascinated by the ideas that you bring. So thank you so much for that. Before we move on to the last question, Teresa, anything from your end, anything that you see on terms of feedbacks or emoji ratings?
Um, I think emoji ratings are, I mean, they do perform a lot better than NPS surveys because that's pretty, I mean, it's always better to go with something a lot more colorful. That's something I've noticed. But it always works in terms of sort of like a smaller poll, not just on feedback on customer service is which is what we used to originally historically do. So with every service email that goes out from one of the CRMs that we're using is Freshdesk. So every email that goes out always does have a NPS survey in it to rate the experience. But having said that, I don't think, I mean, Mailmodo sort of, opened that up and not restricted it to, customer experience and, you know, just to talk about how the whole case was handled. It could always be, a very small form of, did you like this particular aspect? So, for example, very recently we had a launch, a maiden flight for a new sector for one of our airline partners for whom we're a general service agent. 𝐶𝐶𝐶𝐿. It's one of the youngest low-cost carriers in Asia, and they recently started routes from Fujairah Airport, which is a big thing for Fujairah Airport because Fujairah Airport isn't one of your prominent, your Abu Dhabi or Dubai airports. It does require a lot more push, and 𝐶𝐶𝐶𝐿 did open a lot more routes outbound from Fujairah. However, it was a little, tricky because nobody really knows about, and people don't usually go from Fujairah Airport, and people don't usually go from Fujairah Airport with 𝐶𝐶𝐶𝐿. So we did do a very short survey based on some lists that we got shared by the airline, just purely for educational purposes and to see what the customer feedback was. Very easy, very simple. The response rate was much higher than what we see in, cases where people have to answer a lot more questions.
All right, perfect. Thank you so much for that, Teresa. And I think I'm just seeing we're almost at the end of the session, so we'll just go one last question. And Vaibhav, over to you. Many marketers have concerns that AMP, email plan and promotions, right? And people have this ideology that promotions is bad, right? Promotions is not the place that you want to be, right? And so, what's your take on this, right? I mean, do AMP emails really make your emails land in promotions or spam folder, or is it not really proportional to AMP? It's dependent on many other factors.
Yeah, I think this is dependent on many other factors: how you warm up your domain, how you maintain your domain health, and how you keep your list health in check. So, in my experience, I've been using this for a year now, and this is definitely not true.
All right, perfect. And I think that's the end of the show. Let me quickly check in if we have any questions on the group, because I know there are a lot of questions coming, but they also know they're kind of being answered regularly. So let me quickly check in here. All right, perfect. So it looks like everything is pretty answered. So thank you so much. Thank you all three of you for joining us for today. I love that all of us learned a little bit from each other, right? And I think that's the best part of today, right? And I really love the way each one of you are thinking in different angles, but on the same concept of interactive emails, right? So thank you so much for joining us today. I hope you guys have a great day, night, or evening. Take care.